Okay, so this is the current status of the restoration project for the A&L 91 Worlds prototype car. As you know from the previous videos I've made in this series, I do have a few of these that I purchased from Chris Alec. There's that car there. There's this, which you might call the sister chassis, and then I have another one there in the box. And then I sent parts out to Jeff Millar, who owns A&L now, and he made this reproduction kit, which I will also get to work on. Now, in restoring the 91 prototype, I have taken a closer look at the pictures. There are very few pictures out there, but the ones that do exist of the car as it was apparently raised in the 91 Worlds. And this particular style of chassis, the long wheelbase chassis, is what was used. That there is a shorter wheelbase chassis with a different upper deck and lower deck. And again, I don't know precisely whether it was this exact chassis or this exact chassis that was used at the 91 Worlds, but they're both the same type of chassis, okay? But I'm going to assume that it was this one, and build this up appropriately. So far, I've just been working on cleaning these up, so getting all the tape goop and everything off of the chassis parts, cleaning all the dirt off, cleaning up the arms, getting into all these holes and trying to clean up any dirt that got in there. Because you can tell, like with these, for example, with this arm here, this is a non-cleaned version of the arm. As dirt gets into these hinge pin holes, you can kind of see it through the white nylon, that it doesn't look quite as clear. And you see it here too, right? It's just ever so slightly darker on that sort of band where the hinge pin hole runs through the arm. So I tried to get in there with a Q-tip and clean that dirt out so it looks nice and fresh. And I did that on all the arms, clean everything you see here. So this is essentially where the build is at the moment. I was working on a bunch of other stuff in the meantime, so this hasn't made a whole lot of progress. But so far, so good. It looks clean. What I'm going to do next is work on the gearbox. Now, when I sent this out to Jeff to get it reproduced, he was very kind to send me a brand new Lethal Weapon gearbox. This one is blue, and I will be using this one for the reproduction build. But for the, let's call it, original build, I would like to use the yellow gearbox that came with the car, because the yellow gearbox is what was used in the 91 Worlds car. So I'm going to take this apart, clean it up, rebuild anything that needs rebuilding, perhaps the diff, and put this back together. Or maybe I'll just steal that yellow gearbox there. We'll see. So anyway, that's what's next. The images that exist are really hard to zoom in on, because they're not particularly high resolution images. So I'm not 100% sure about what drag link was used on the 91 Worlds car, whether it was this particular drag link or this one here that has a little extension piece on it. It's not obvious from the images, although to my recollection it may be this drag link. So that's one thing I have to double check on. What else do I have to do? I don't know exactly which camber link positions were used, so I'm just going to assume that where the ball studs are positioned right now in the tower is the most is the appropriate position, or the position that was used at the 91 Worlds. So there are some details here that are simply lost in memory, that I might not be able to exactly reproduce, which is unfortunate, but I have most or all of the pieces I need to do this. So let's see, what else can I mention here? I mean, the chassis came out nice and clean. This particular one doesn't have any significant scratches or anything. There's a little bit of something stuck there on the lower rear of the chassis. That you can see the reflection of the light there. That is I think that's some tape residue from when perhaps I think this had a lower deck or a protective piece was taped to the bottom side of the chassis. I was unable to successfully remove all of that, but all the other tape goop and everything, I got that off. Everything looks nice and fresh. Okay, so yeah, really not much to drone on about here. So I'm just going to get to work the next time I have a few moments and work on the gearbox. And that's going to go on. And then I have this little top brace here that slots on. This one goes on kind of interestingly because the brace, as you can see, it has, it's kind of flush on this side, the way it meets, the way this bottom or back surface edge meets this edge, and then it kind of juts out a little bit. You have these two little ears. And the way that mounts is you have to mount it through this hole on the tower from the front to the back onto the gearbox. It's a bit different from the RC10, which you can just plop right on from behind the rear tower. So just a little detail there for actually installing it, because then when you get to removing it, if you have to take it out, you have to take these screws off here, because it goes, these back screws, okay, they go through these motor guard screws, then onto the gearbox. So you got to take those off, plus these off, and pull it out from here. So if you have like a speed control or some kind of electronics here that might get in the way, you have to get that out of the way. I don't know what else to mention here, because there's really, we got the arms, front and rear, shock towers are all set. There's a bit of work to do here. So I will just leave it here and just let you know that I am making progress on this. Okay, and we will have it done hopefully before end of year. So thanks for watching.